right, and we are back again with a brand new episode of Another 24, and I got a good brother in the building, man. I got a coach, I got a life coach, a fitness instructor, a social media genius, a father, just an all-around good man. I got my boy, the one and only Coach 36, man. What's going on, my boy?
What's going on with your T? All right.
Yes, sir, man. I'm glad you pulled up, man. Glad we got to do this, man.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Glad you know what I mean, you invited me.
Yeah, for sure, man. So first things first, man. I gotta ask you, man. What was your workout today, man?
Today was actually light calisthenics. You know what I mean?
Okay.
A couple pull-ups and some body weight squats and you know, just basically focusing on body weight stuff. Light day.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Okay, so you weren't lifting heavy today, huh?
Nah, not today, but tomorrow may be another day though. You know what I mean?
Okay. So man, you know, I've known you for a while. We went to high school together, man. People don't know. But what got you into fitness? Like I remember you playing sports. I remember you know being on the basketball team and all that. But like, what kind of really got you set down that path, man?
To be honest, it was when I messed up my knees playing sports. Yeah, man. You know, long story short, I was terrified of going to the hospital. You know what I mean? So I did my own research to see how to rehab my knees. You know what I mean? And from there, that led to me seeing results. And I started to develop a small passion for it. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until I got back around my father, because I was off in college. And I seen how, you know, how deep into it he was, you know, post. And
No diddy.
No diddy. So yeah, it wasn't until I seen, you know, how heavy into it he was. And from there, he motivated me to take it to another level.
Right.
And after that, you know, it was all she wrote.
Right.
Yeah.
So you kind of just dove in head first, pause.
Yeah, something like that,
So
exactly.
when you first started, did you have like a certain goal in mind, or did you just want to just go down that path? Did you just say, hey, man, I want to start working out? Or did you say, like, I want to be ripped, I want to be shredded? Like,
Yeah. Good question. To be honest with you, it was more about, you know, putting on a little bit more size. Because at the time, you know, I was like, probably like 150, 155-ish, you know what I mean? And, you know, the ultimate goal at the time was to just get a little bit bigger. And then it just developed into something more after that, you know?
Right.
And, you know, the passion grew forward, and here we are today.
Got you. So what was the injury on your knee, if you don't mind asking?
I tore my ACL in one knee. Yeah. And then I tore my MCL in the other. And that just shifted everything, you know? Yeah. And I always try to look at it like this, though, T. Like, you know, I felt like, you know, I was a good athlete, but the space that I'm in today and what I do today, I was meant to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, I believe everything happens for a reason. And so, you know, I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Facts,
you know?
facts. Yeah, so when did it turn from a passion to like what you have cultivated into now, like a business, a whole brand? Like, when did that start to happen?
So I would say in 2015 to 16. And the reason why I say it is because around that time, you know, also being a barber, I had, you know, I had decided that I wanted to, you know, learn the actual business of training.
Right.
Because I was training people before and prior to that, but it was raw. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? I didn't really have a structure to it per se.
Gotcha.
And, you know, I would say that time frame is, you know, where, you know, I started to take it serious and I actually went to work for a gym. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then that kind of, when you were working there, you kind of learned the business, learned the ins and outs, the tricks of the trade on how to make it like a full thing. Gotcha.
Exactly. That was the key because you know, like I said, everything was so raw and unstructured. I needed to know how to conduct the business of fitness for myself.
Got you.
You know, and that's what working for a you know, commercial or franchise type business did for me. You know what I mean?
So did you have like any fitness inspirations, like the C.T. Fletcher and Arnold Schwarzenegger, these guys? Did you look at any of them and be like, man, I can look like that?
Yeah. I mean, to be real with you, no.
Okay.
And the reason why I said it is because when I started lifting, Ronnie Coleman, you know, 8-time Mr. Olympia, you know, he was still in it. And, you know, that was motivated to work like him in the sense of lifting heavy weight, but not necessarily look like him. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just love the intensity behind what he did and the strength that he had. But CT, CT played his own role for me as well because, when we used to train in the garage, we used to have him on YouTube.
Oh, facts.
Yeah, just listening to his motivation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and,
he'll get at you. He'll cuss you out.
you feel me? You feel me? So, and I was receptive to that. You know what I'm saying? Me and my father and my mother as well. We all work out.
Okay.
And, I was very receptive to it. And, what was dope about that in itself was, it wasn't like we were following what CT or Mike Rashid or any of those guys did. It was more so we were doing things that were similar to what they were doing, and we came across other people that had the same level of crazy as us. You know what I'm saying? Or what was perceived as crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I would say those two guys in particular. Other than my father, you know what I'm saying? I used to see him do some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Crazy.
Got you. So for somebody that's an amateur like me, I live, I train with you, man. I need to come back. Matter of fact,
I'm there. You know what I mean?
But can you kind of break down the differences between like having the look and then being like functionally strong, like bodybuilding, benching 350 versus being ripped and just having that physique? Like, what are the different approaches to each goal?
Okay. So when it comes to being ripped, the approach would be more so a combination of high endurance exercises, right? Something that has a healthy balance of cardio training mixed in with high repetition, right? As opposed to strength, right? Strength, not only is there a difference in terms of reps, right? Like the reps are a little bit lower naturally because you're training for hypertrophy and the weight is heavier, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? And 8 times out of 10, the correlation is you want size, right? You want to be bigger.
Right.
So you have to really pay attention to your cardio and even, lessen, depending on what your exact weight goal is, lessen the amount of cardio that you're doing so that you don't counterbalance the muscle growth.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Got you.
So different approaches, in a nutshell, I would say, if the goal is to be shredded and ripped, you definitely want to pay attention to moderate to heavy weight. And it's all about, what's relative to you.
Right, exactly.
And then with heavyweight, you want to push what you can. You want to stimulate the muscles to the best of your ability.
Got you.
So that's the major difference.
Got you. So, like when I come to you, say I come across your IG page, and I like what I see. Pause. Like I see, you're training people, things like that. So, like, what makes your approach to coaching and training different than the thousands of other fitness, experts out there?
That's a good question. I would say for me, 2 things in specific. Number one, walking the walk, not just being someone that talks about what you need to do to live a healthier or more fit lifestyle, but leading by example, right?
Facts.
Everything that I suggest, any opinions that I give, mixed in with facts, of course, I live by and I stand on myself, right? And then number 2, I'm a people person. You know what I'm saying? So really 3 things. Number 2 would be passion, and then number 3 would be being a people person.
Gotcha.
So I can relate to different people. Because one thing I always say too, T, is no matter if the goal is to come down in size or go up in size, the amount of effort, energy, and focus that it takes is all the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And you got to know how to be patient with people, right? As a former athlete, certain movements come a little bit more natural to someone like myself.
Facts.
But if you're just picking any old Joe Schmo off the street, right, who was never an athlete or just not used to moving and doing things in a certain way, you got to be more patient with someone like that,
right.
Yeah. And just know how to approach them.
Gotcha.
So I would say that's the biggest, difference with me.
Okay, gotcha. So he gonna take the time out. He gonna make sure your fitness is tailored to you.
Indeed.
The one you.
Indeed.
Not nobody else, you. But like what are your favorite? I ain't gonna say favorite, but like who are some of your, I guess, well, I'll say the opposite. Like, what are some of the most challenging clients that you have? Like, which ones are the hardest to kind of deal with, the hardest to kind of get on the program? Have you noticed like a certain personality trait that's harder to work with or more of a challenge?
Um, yeah, you could say that in the sense of the type of person who, they say verbally they want results and they want to, feel like this and look like that, but in a more practical sense, you're not putting in the work,
Right.
right? You know what I mean? Like, here's the truth. So it's one of those things where, is that mentality coupled with the fact that the work that you do in the gym is just one facet to it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
What you do outside of the gym is equally important.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a common problem that is well known throughout the industry and the business. So just having the patience to continue to build someone up. You know what I mean?
Cause I ain't gonna lie, man. Like when it comes to fitness, like I love working out, I love being active, but I know that for me, sometimes I can be a little impatient.
Yeah, for sure.
And some of the changes, they're like so imperceptible. Like it takes a while for them to actually start to take notice. You know what I mean? And by the time you start taking notice, you're like, damn, I'm tired. I can't do no more, man. But but what I notice is like with these guys that's ripped, these guys that got, amazing bodies, Pauls, it's just like at the point where a normal person like me will stop, them niggas, they just keep going.
Facts.
They just keep going. You know what I'm saying? That's really the only difference that I notice,
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. It's crazy, man. So for somebody like me,
Okay.
I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. I've been going back to the gym the past couple weeks though, so I'm getting back there.
That's what's up.
I'm getting back there, but I'm trying to look like Creed 3, bro.
I feel that.
What I need to do to look like Creed 3, man? What's the first 2-3 things you'll tell me to do?
For someone like yourself, because you're already preconditioned, I would say to focus on two things. Number one is your nutrition. It's going to make your transition back into the gym full time easier, right? You'll feel better and be able to do a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And mentality, you know what I mean? Figuring out your why, you know what I mean? Understand what it is you want to accomplish, and then you can be intentional. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You feel me? Whenever I always find that whenever the goal is clear, the path to the goal becomes even clearer.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
You
That's
feel
a
me?
bar, matter of fact. Man. We're gonna clip that. We're gonna clip that.
You dig?
Right. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that, man. Because if you don't aim for nothing, then what you doing?
What we doing?
Right.
You know?
So have you noticed like, and it's probably always been like this, but I've noticed a lot of women being more fitness oriented and having those having those goals to be kind of, more fit, man. Have you noticed that kind of in the gym? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I see a lot more, active women, in the present than I ever have before. And I think, a part of that has to do with the shift that took place, maybe, 5 or 6 years ago or something like that, where, people just wanted to, live a healthier lifestyle. But I think also, and obviously it's vanity as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't look good, but I don't mind that. You look good, you feel good.
Yeah,
you treat
facts.
other people better. You know what I mean? Along with yourself, obviously.
Exactly.
So, that's my opinion on the matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you only get one body. Might as well make it look good.
You feel me?
You know what I'm saying?
Might as well.
Yeah. So for someone like you,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody wants to look like you,
Mm-hmm.
like in reality, like how hard do you work? Like how often are you in the gym? When's the last time you had some ice cream? I think like what's the real life situation looking like, my boy?
For sure. From the most humble place that I could bring it, trying to look like me may be a little bit more difficult than what meets the eye because of, number one, like I mentioned a second ago, the mentality, right? How I feel about fitness and what I'm willing to sacrifice, right? Because for me, it's the shell is secondary, right? This is all secondary.
Right.
It's here first, right? So I train to sharpen my mind. So with that being said, it would take, at least 5 to 6 days a week of training. Um,
Damn.
yeah, at least 5 to 6 days.
Right.
And that's once again, if we stick to wanting to look like me, right? I'm just giving you the recipe. That's how often I train. And you don't have to train as long as me. You can do what you need to do in 35 to 40 minutes, right? But within that time frame, you're talking about a high level of intensity, right? So there's two things right there to highlight, when it comes to training or looking like me. It's mentality, and then it's training with intensity.
Facts.
Right? And then lastly, what you put in your body, right? For me, because of the amount of lean muscle that I've accumulated, everything burns fast, right? So that allows me to eat what I want to eat. But the discipline comes in because, like I said, what you put in is what you get out.
Facts.
So I can't just eat what I want to eat if I want to perform at a high level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially with being over 30, you know what I mean? So, to sum it up in a nutshell, you would need to train consistently throughout your week. You would need to develop, if you don't already have a mentality, that's just that of, you can't be stopped. You know what I mean? The only thing that can stop you is you.
Is you, goddamn.
You feel me?
Right.
You feel me? And, nutrition, understanding the importance of, food literally being fuel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You eat for, and this is where, things get a little tricky with me because I'm not a foodie, right? So I eat for what I just said, for fuel and energy purposes.
Right.
So I know that's a little bit difficult for the average person, eating for taste. But, goes back to your why, what's important to you.
Yeah, the mentality part, bro, I'm glad you keep stressing that because it's just like, man, it's going to take a while, bro. Like, it's not going to take 3 months. Probably not going to take 6 months. It might take a full year for you to really start seeing the changes that you really want to see. For somebody like me, anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like having that mentality that it's going to take a while.
For sure.
It's going to happen.
For sure.
But you just got to be patient enough to stick it out because once you fall off the wagon and you skip a week in the gym, you got to replace that week. And then you got to do another week to get back on track. You know what I'm saying?
And go twice as hard, probably.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, like, what is some of your favorite foods that are healthy? Like fruits, vegetables, of course, but is there any that you kind of recommend over others?
For me, I mostly keep it simple in terms of fish, and broccoli is one of my favorite carbs. It's simple. But I would also say one thing that I like to make is a snack, egg muffins.
Okay.
Yeah, egg muffins, man. It sounds kind of crazy, but it's, simple enough. And the reason why is because protein. I'm able to chop up some ground turkey or, skinless chicken, mix it in there with some vegetables and, make a good egg muffin.
Right.
And so I would say, that snack/meal would be more my preference because it's easy for me to consume, whether I'm on the go or I'm just sitting at home and I need a quick snack, and I could get everything I need from it, So yeah, I don't really have a go-to food. Like, I can do without a lot of different foods. You know what I mean?
Got you.
So
you don't be at Chick-fil-A like me, huh?
Chick-fil-A good too.
Yeah, it is. They got some healthy options too. Healthier options.
Exactly.
So, like, do you recommend people, at least in the beginning, counting your calories and making sure that you getting X amount of protein, X amount of carbs? Is that as important?
Not in the beginning, no.
Okay.
And then it also depends on how serious, the goal is, right?
Right.
I always say, people know what they should and shouldn't eat.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. Yeah.
And everything's in moderation. Facts. So, with that in mind, it's more so about you developing the type of mentality that says that I'm going to be consistent with trying to eat better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as the food in itself, you have to create this sort of like this vacuum, right? Where you say, okay, I'm gonna take in everything that is, beneficial towards my goal, but also I'm not going to drive myself crazy in terms of or it didn't have this type of nutrient in it, or it didn't have X amount of calories in it. It's a fine line. You want to be mindful, but not so mindful, because it's going to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Just like the scale, stepping on the scale back and forth. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So the bottom line to it is you want to be realistic with yourself. Like, one thing I always say to you is, when it comes to nutrition in itself, you want to consume foods and meal prep according to what you already consume. Meaning, if you're someone who goes to, in the beginning, if you're someone who goes to a burger spot 3-4 times a week, right? What you want to do is try to transition into becoming the person that cooks that meal.
Okay.
Right? So you can control now,
Right.
those extra additives or anything that could be harmful
grease
to
and
you.
shit.
All that grease, right?
Right,
You know what I mean? So you take out, maybe regular French fries, and you replace that with sweet potato fries. Cooked to your liking.
Facts.
Right?
Facts, yeah.
So yeah, it's just creating a healthy balance like that and being realistic with yourself.
Right.
Right.
Gotcha. Especially like you said, depending on how far you want to go with it.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, and in doing the research, I've done the research. I've looked into a lot of things, but it's just so many different opinions and so many different facts coming from all over the place that you don't really know what's real. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's like they say that you can't build a certain amount of muscle without the meat. But then you got these vegan guys that are shredded to the gills, gaining muscle. So how do you really know what to follow? Like, is it kind of, would you recommend like a trial and error approach, or do you have like a certain formula that you think is the formula?
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, because you have to factor in genetics.
Okay,
right?
Got you.
Some people will be able to naturally look and build up a certain way based on their genetics. But then there is the formula, right?
Yeah.
What works. Right. Don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would say, you have to be someone who is you just need to be dedicated to whatever it is that you want to do, because that'll take you down the path. Whatever goal you want to accomplish, you need to be dedicated to whatever goal you want to accomplish, because that'll take you down a path that is essentially the only path for you to get to that goal.
Got you.
Which takes me back to the formula, right? There is a formula to it, right? Don't try to reinvent it. So it's a yeah and no type thing.
So if I'm trying to bench 450, then I probably can't be vegan. But if I want to be shredded, then it might make more sense. Or I could replace the protein with a shake or something.
Yeah, and so yeah, because one thing to understand from the statements you just made, right? Like, if you wanted to bench 450, the best option may not be to be vegan, right? The reason why I agree more so with that statement is because of ligaments, tendons, and bone structure, right? If you're vegan, right, and you're benching 450, depending on your weight, right? I'm just assuming that you may be on the lighter end.
Right.
You're more prone to injuring yourself depending on the combination of how you train, right, and how much you weigh. How much cushion do you have around, know, those ligaments and tendons and whatnot.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So, it's that's one of the things I love about fitness. It's a sweet science to it. You know?
Sure, yeah.
You feel me?
For sure.
So,
That makes sense, man. That makes sense. And a lot more people are being, I guess, more open about, where I'm going with this.
Yeah, for sure.
About the TRT, the HGH, and all of these things. So, first of all, why do you think that is kind of more accepted now? And of the people that you see that have these amazing physiques, like what percentage would you guess are on something?
To be honest, a higher percentage than what most would think. I think the reason why that is because, like you mentioned earlier, there's this mentality that you know, you want it overnight, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you factor in the internet in itself, and you know, you scrolling or no matter the platform you on, and you seeing all these different physiques, right, that you want to, you know, look like, um, it kind of expedites the way you think, right, in the process of it all.
Yeah.
So, and if you have access to it, it's like, why not?
Why not, right?
And so, you know, for me, I think that's why, in my personal opinion, I think that's why so many people consume it. That's the mentality behind it. You just want to, nobody wants to work for anything anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Nowadays.
You feel me? You know, so that's the mentality, I think, anyway. You know?
Because I look at these guys like, man, I love The Rock. You know, of
Yeah,
course,
sure.
the rock bottom, you know, shut your mouth, all of that. But, bro, you like almost 50-something, and he is fucking jacked.
He's huge.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Yeah.
could he be natural, or do we have to be honest with ourselves and say it might be a little, you know, it might be a little help, a little assistance there. But you in the movies though, you know, I'm sure some of it's movie magic too. But it's just like, come on, man, you could just come out and say it right. Like, I love you, bro, but like, just be honest, dog. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel you on that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case with him in particular, just based on his profession. Right. He does it at the highest level, and what makes sense for him to continue to be, you know, at the pinnacle. For me, what I don't like is, you know, just generally speaking, what I don't like is the people who promote the idea that you can look like this or perform like this. You know, all you got to do is put in the work. Okay, but what you're not telling them is, you know, you're not all natural.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So essentially lying to the people, be honest with the people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, just be honest.
Yeah.
And then like, I'm not gonna sit here and be naive. Like, okay, I can just shoot my ass with some steroids, pause, and then not work out and still look like that. Like, you still have to do the work.
Indeed.
Like, I'm aware of that, but it's still like you getting a little help, man. It's, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just be honest.
Right. Yeah, just be honest. You know.
Yeah.
But not like, I am trying to look like that, but I'm not gonna do the steroid thing. Like, not if I don't have to. You know what I'm saying? I don't got to be on the camera in movies and shit. So I'll put the work in naturally. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that, and I respect it.
Yeah, man. But how important is cardio? I meant to ask you that. How important is cardio to having that look?
Very.
Okay.
You know, I would say the order is as follows. You know, resistance training first, nutrition second, cardio last. But yet, and still with that being said, they're all equally important.
Right.
You know, funny enough, I just made a post about this yesterday. It's the balance of all three. But to isolate cardio in itself, it's important to understand the purpose of cardio, right? You know, so between conditioning your heart rate, right? Because that's all cardio is, right? An elevated heart rate over a period of time, right? So when you understand the importance of that, right, and then you factor in whatever your goal is, now you can create a healthy balance as to how many times you should be doing cardio.
Got you.
You know what I mean? And so, and you know, on top of that, to piggyback off that thought, I'm one of those people personally who my preference is to get cardio from a HIIT style of training.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be some form of weights or resistance training period mixed in.
Right.
Just because I personally don't care for running.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, to sum it up, once again, cardio is very important. You need to balance it all out and just understand, you know, you can't be this super cardio person and then say you want a nice, lean, muscular physique, and you're doing so much cardio.
Right.
It's counterproductive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you, once again, back to balance, right? So
somebody like me, because you know, like I said, I do want to be shredded, like at least once in my life before I get too old. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that. I feel that, bro.
So like I know that there's the cycle of bulking and then cutting. Like, where would somebody like me start?
Well, first things first, I don't believe in the idea of bulking,
okay.
just because it's it's kind of crazy to me. It's like, what, I'm just gonna put on a bunch of weight and then what, work backwards to tone up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'd rather just, you know, build up in a healthy, balanced way.
Okay.
Right. But so, you know, when it comes to my bad, repeat the question, bro.
So like for someone like me, should I start with, well, I guess you're saying you don't have to do the bulking and cutting. You can kind of do both at the same time.
Exactly.
Right? And then just get your cardio kind of in between, you know, you're doing the HIIT style of training, like you said.
Yeah. Or just isolate. You can isolate it on the treadmill or elliptical or what have you.
Right. But don't overdo it.
But don't overdo it if your number one goal, if the number one focus is to build a lean physique, right?
Right.
Don't overdo the cardio.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Balance it in. So just to give a quick breakdown, right? You could say, all right, you know, 3 days a week, 3 to 4, I'm going to resistance / weight train, right? Because the focus is building a lean physique.
Yeah.
Now, in between, I'll have a day or two where I go into the gym, or just, you know, run on your street or block in your neighborhood. And I'm gonna do, you know, 20 minutes of cardio, right?
Okay.
Whether that's HIIT or you know, just a you know, a straight 20-minute jog.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would create a balance like that.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And or if you're someone who has extreme weight loss goals,
Right.
how I would train you personally is I would make you have a cool down at the end of the session. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And isolate cardio days as well, right? While still having that healthy balance of weight training and cardiovascular training.
Perfect. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, because, you know, I'm trying to put together the perfect workout regimen right now while we're here.
I got you, man.
Right.
I got you. I don't mind giving free game. That's where I started.
Hey, man, that's what it's about, man.
I mean,
but speaking of which, you've added life coach to your list of credentials, man. What brought that about?
You know, the reality is, man, maybe about a year and a half or 2 ago, I came to the conclusion that I'm put here to be of service to people, right?
Right.
And naturally, the type of person I am, I want the best for you. I don't have to know you. I want the best for you. It's not a hating bone in my body.
Fact.
You see what I'm saying? And I think because of that and the nature of what I do, it was just this natural lane for me to step into, you know? You know, whether that's, you know, speaking words of encouragement or inspiration, or, you know, a stranger asking me what did I do to accomplish this look, right? I'm gonna give you the game, but then, you know, that has its expiration date on it as well, because, you know, I'm one of those people, T, where if I'm giving you information, especially if it's just free game, right? Our time is valuable, and you don't take it and you don't put it to use,
it's a waste.
It's a waste. So I'm not gonna continue to, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And that's just how I feel about it.
Got you. Yeah, I think that's a very, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with the fitness. It's like a lot of the fitness lessons that you learn and the type of, like you said, mentality that you have to kind of be successful in fitness is almost the same as what you need in life.
Exactly. So, I hate to cut you off. I'm so glad you said that, because that's at the center of it, right? When it comes to mentality, understand that how you train, right, transcends beyond the gym, right?
Right.
The level of focus that you have to dial into and have in order to, you know, sculpt and chisel, right? Just keep beating away at, you know, the physique that you want.
Right.
That transcends. So I'm glad you made that statement, because I wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I think it's that's awesome, bro. And I be motivated. I be looking at your page. I be like, look at Ace, man.
I appreciate
man,
you.
you about to be out of here, man. I'm sure you probably already started training celebrities and shit, but you know, once you get in that world, man, it's gonna take off for you even more than it already has, man.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I just the number one thing I ask God to do for me is allow me to remain humble and continue to be in a mental space where I never feel like I know everything I need to know.
Right. Facts.
You know?
Yeah, because I remember when we was training, I was like had to be like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just remember us talking about our plans and what we had for the future, bro. You doing every single thing that you said you was gonna do, man. So
Appreciate you.
I'm proud of you for that, man. That's awesome,
Appreciate
bro.
you,
Keep
man.
that shit going. Keep that shit going.
Appreciate you.
But I want to kind of pivot a little bit.
Let's
'cause
do it.
we got
Let's do
we got a lot of shit going on, man.
it. Indeed, we
And
do.
at the heart of what Another 24 is, you know, we started out with music,
Indeed.
you know, talking to artists, producers, that type of thing.
Okay.
We've expanded to all professionals.
I love that.
Right. But in the music world, we got a lot going on, man.
We do. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, man, because I
Let's
know
talk
you
about it.
I know you're a hip hop fan.
Yeah, I love good music.
So we got Kendrick,
Indeed.
we got Drake,
Indeed.
we got Ross, we got Future, we got Cole. We got a lot going on, man. What's your thoughts on what's going on? Like, who you think got the upper hand, man? Who's winning right now?
Just being honest and totally, open about the situation. I think Drake is ahead right now.
Okay.
I think Drake is ahead. And I'm not biased towards, any of those names that you just mentioned. Or at least I try my best not to be.
Right.
But the reason why I think he's ahead is because I feel like, the track he put out, I feel like not only was it a mixture of, personal messages that he wanted to send to, the names he mentioned, but I think, like we've always seen from Drake, the strategy behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could tell, it wasn't something that he rushed or you know what I'm saying? It was something that, he felt passionate about. And that's not to take away from, the other songs that were created. I just think, the quality and the mentality behind the bars was witty, Yeah. So that's my opinion on it.
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you. Cole disappointed me, man.
He did.
Yeah, because Cole is like, I probably had him out of the big three. He was probably like my number one.
Yeah.
And he just bowed out, man.
He did. And I couldn't understand that, and I didn't like it myself.
I was just like, dang, Cole, man, I was rooting for you, bro.
Yeah. Why you think that is? Why you think he bowed out?
I mean, I think it's a few different things. Number one, he's cool with both sides. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Him and Kendrick is cool. Him and Drake, obviously, they working together. They on tour together and all that.
Sure.
So I feel like he didn't want to be caught in the middle of that. Because from what it seems like, it's probably going to get ugly, man.
Yeah, from what it seems like, you're right.
Because, Drake was mentioning Kendrick's wife.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Saying all these, throwing these slick shots about people's baby mamas and shit like that. So I think Cole, he just too pure-hearted for that. He like, man, I just want to rap.
And yo, and I listen, I feel that wholeheartedly. My only issue with that is there was never a worry about this going beyond rap.
Exactly.
It's going beyond hip hop.
Exactly.
So, when you speak a certain way, when you say you him, you call yourself to go to this era, you gotta stand on that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when he was challenged, to do it, just taking it for what it is, you step down.
Right.
So I can't get with that, T.
Man, he can't. He on the first person shooter, he said, man, I feel like Muhammad Ali. And then when it's time for you to have a heavyweight championship fight, you say, nah, I'm good.
That's crazy.
Right? Yeah, exactly, man. I'm like, come on, you can't be talking like that. But then again, Drake has also been talking like that.
For sure.
And we've heard reference tracks of people doing whole songs for Drake.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So how can you really call yourself the best or the GOAT when it's questionable, it's an asterisk on some of your biggest songs? You know what I mean?
I agree.
I mean, I do think of course he writes, you know what I'm saying? He's probably a talented writer, but it's just like every song I hear, I'm like, okay, did he write that?
Did he write that?
You know what I'm saying?
That has to come into question. I agree.
Exactly. So I'm just like, it's gonna be interesting. And then, Kendrick, he probably not gonna respond for another 5-10 years.
I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case. I want to hear something now.
Right. But I think it's gonna be interesting. I like what what Ross is doing, man. Ross is funny.
Yeah.
Ross threw his hat in the ring like, man, I'm here too.
Listen, and I love it too. The Styles P, he had a tweet or a post, something. He said, the person who is, willing to get, the most petty and, while remaining witty and, you know, just level headed at the same time is gonna win.
It's gonna win, yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And you know, it's some validity to that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, we seen it with 50. 50 don't give a damn, boy.
For sure, for sure.
50 will say whatever about
Savage,
whoever.
savage,
Exactly.
man.
Exactly. So I think it's gonna be interesting, man. I want to hear the back and forth. I wish Cole would have stayed in a little bit longer and
Me too.
you know let people know that he here too. He's him.
I agree.
But you know, I guess it is what it is.
And one thing, you know, I wanted to say as far as Drake is concerned, to me, I'm one of those people who categorizes, you know, within hip hop, you have, you know, a lyricist, an MC, and then you have what I consider to be a rapper. And that's not to say a lyricist or an MC is not a rapper,
Right.
but all rappers aren't MCs or lyricists.
Right.
And I think with Drake, even though, you know, it comes into question if, you know, he's writing everything that he puts out, I think you don't receive the amount of success that he's seen hit after hit, you know, certain bars where, you know, most of it isn't you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think just to sum it up, you know, once again, the reason why I gave it to Drake is not just for the song in itself. This is what he does. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who spoke on the song prior to it coming out knew that it was gonna be right. You know what I'm saying? So all of that plays its part.
Right, definitely. And then it's still, you know, a lot of the supporting characters around the whole situation, they in a tough spot too.
Yeah.
Because you hear ASAP Rocky, goddamn The Weeknd. This is all coming on Future's album. So I'm just like, where did all this come from? The whole Metro thing, that's been interesting.
Very.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is really all over like women. Like, y'all got access to like whoever y'all want, damn near. So I'm like, how y'all? But you know, I don't know. I'm not in that world. But I think that it's a little, you know, it's a little interesting that the celebrity entertainment world, how
it is
these politics happen.
It is. And to piggyback off your thought, excuse me, when it comes to women, and I'm sure you would agree with this, you know, that's the thing, right? We say, you know, I hope you're not fighting over a woman, or, you know, it ain't that deep, it's a woman. But I think what has to be factored in is the principle behind whatever was done.
Facts,
right?
yeah.
And the context of it. Like, you can say that it's over a woman, but if he overstepped, you know, a respect boundary, right? And, you know, made it personal, or just, you know, said it, did some things he shouldn't have did. Well, whether or not it's because of female now becomes irrelevant.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good
now
point.
There's a problem with your character.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's it on that.
That whole thing with I'm sure you know about the DJ drama. And Drake.
Yeah.
Like, this supposed to be your
female.
boy, but you smashed his baby mama.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
That's
it's just
crazy.
like, he kind of a slimy nigga, man.
Yeah.
For doing that, you know what I'm saying?
For real though.
Bro, like, damn, bro. But even if you're not with her, bro, like, still.
Don't do that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's certain, like you said, it's certain boundaries that you just don't step over. And maybe sound like Drake probably been doing a lot of that, because it's a lot.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's a lot of people dissing him right now. I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but I mean, I couldn't see Jay-Z or Nas backing out.
No.
Cole,
No.
you signed to Jay-Z. I hope Jay-Z called you, man. But nah, man. But before we get out of here, man, how can people reach you? How can people get in touch with you? Where can they find you?
So, you know, I'm pretty much everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. The handle is pretty much the same across all three platforms. Facebook as well, which is Ace360 Fitness, or Ace36, or just Ace360 Fit. You know, I also have a fitness app, you know, and fitness programs available. You don't have to be, you know, this experienced lifter or just, you know, super lifter to start. I have programs that, you know, are for beginners leading up to experienced lifters as well. And all of these are accessible, you know, whether you go directly to my website or click the links, you know, on some of those platforms that I mentioned. So, yeah, Ace360 Fit, you know, it's not just a business or a brand, but it's also a lifestyle. So, you know, if you decide to join the community, what you can expect is, you know, honest and open, you know, honest and open mentality as far as, you know, what this thing called fitness requires. And, you know, just dealing with someone who loves it and is very passionate about it and is here to help you, you know, become the best version of you. So check out those platforms and, you know, hopefully you see something you like.
Hey, man, there we have it, man. I'm going to pull up to your gym, man. I might bring a camera crew so we can film one of these workouts, show them what it's about.
Let's do it.
I appreciate it, my boy, Coach 36, man.
Blessings, man.
All right.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yes, sir.